For generations you've slept. No purpose. No call to wake you.
What happened to Warframe? A question that many have been asking for a few years. A question that has no root cause, at least on the surface. A question that I'm determined to find the answer to. But before we ask what, we must first ask how. How did we get here, that is? Because you see, Warframe's development could easily be traced back to old Dark Sector demos in 2004 to 2005. But you may be asking, if the development of the game is dated back that far, why has it not been around that long? Because of, and you probably already know the answer, publishers. They did not want a space game, and at the time, the craze was World War II shooters for some reason. And look where that got us now. But with that being said, development did truly kick off in 2011. However, it was not all sunshine and daisies, as Digital Streams had to lay off a decent chunk of their developers due to financial issues and the fact that just things were not going smoothly for the development of the game. I won't bore you with the small details of early development because I'm not very qualified for doing so. I'm not even qualified to make this video. I just like talking about games. In fact, they almost went bankrupt with making Warframe in the early days. But with that being said, let's fast forward to October 2012, where the game came out only in closed beta. See, for the closed beta, you had to buy a Founders Pack. Now, players nowadays know what the Founders Pack is because it gives you access, mainly gave you early access to loot, but more importantly, it gave you access to Excalibur Prime. A frame alone that is worth hundreds of dollars in currency nowadays. But months of closed beta later, when the game finally went into open beta in 2013, to a whole big jump, and I'm just gonna keep it real. Developers, no one really liked it for some reason. It had a lot of panned responses from people. In the early days, reviewers didn't like it, and users, the ones who did stick around, loved it, but new players were confused. But wait, I am missing something. Someone very important to Warframe's success. Is that what I hear in the background?
Ladies and gentlemen, my name is TotalBiscuit. I'm here to ask and answer one simple question. WTF is Warframe?
Now, to say that TotalBiscuit helped the game massively would be an understatement. His videos on the game got people to buy the Founders Pack to play the game while it was in closed beta. And without him, Warframe may not even exist to this day. And we should all thank him for that. I don't have much to say about that. I don't want to get emotional in the video. So anyway, on to the next part. Fast forward a little bit to March of 2013 for the open beta. It was rocky to say the least. The game was sitting at 20,000 players total a month. And for a massively free-to-play game, that's not sustainable. And that kind of was an issue for a while for the developers, and they almost went bankrupt in the early days of the beta. Let's just leave it at that. It's a lot of stuff, but As the months went on, and the PS4 and Xbox One editions came out, more players got the game. But a game wouldn't be a game without content, and oh boy, was there a lot of content coming out. As the months went on, more and more stuff came out, and as more stuff came out, more people downloaded the game. As more people downloaded the game, more people told about the game, and it just sort of snowballed and snowballed until every single DLC just added more and more players to the point we're at today. But I'm getting ahead of myself again. I always do that. Let us fast forward to 2015. In 2014 to 2015, we got Stolen Dreams and Nata. These were important. To say they were important would be vastly underestimating what they are. Stolen Dreams and Nata were the first instance of story quests in the game. Now, up to this point, the game had story quests, but they were not story quests. They were not main story quests. They were not forwarding the story in the universe. The only way you knew the story in the universe is if you scanned things and read what you scanned. Who would do that unless you were super dedicated to lore? But, and I say but because one thing came out in 2015. The one thing that came out in 2015 that would change everything. Update number 18 on December 3rd, 2015. The second Dream Quest. Now, to say that this was the most important thing in the game at that point would be basically saying that finding the Ark of the Covenant is like walking your dog. This was the first time that we got a cinematic quest in a game like this. Cinematic quests did exist in games like this, but not to the level of the second Dream. Now, why am I talking about the history of the game up until the second Dream? Because this ties into the question of what happened to the game. I know someone's going to ask that. I'm saying ahead of time. I will be covering the second Dream in another day. So that's a future content. Stay tuned for that, because I have a lot to say about that quest. As for the question of what happened, it's hard to answer. The game has sat around 70,000 players on Steam monthly, with spikes whenever new content comes out. And that's not including Switch, PlayStation 4, PlayStation 5, Xbox One, the Series X and S, and now, of recent times, iOS. So the player base is very healthy, alive, and active in 2024. So it's time to look at another question. Did the game fall off? Yes, but also no. If we look at the player count, as I mentioned before, it has ups and downs like any other game. But even then, in its lower points, 60 to 70,000 people on just Steam is not very low. And I'm going to keep it at 100%. The ones who say Warframe has fallen off likely are trying to clickbait into rage commenting on the thing, because that's not the point of this series or this video. My point is to discuss if something happened, not to say it has. Does the game have lower players than it did years ago? If you only look at peaks, yes. Does it have lower players overall? No, because as I mentioned before, the game started with only 20,000 monthly players in its first few months of open beta. Even then, the game's future is bright, with 1999 coming soon. And even Soulframe is coming out eventually, which is probably another part of the lore of the game, probably taking place in between 1999 and the start of Warframe. So to answer what happened to the game that is Warframe, it kind of just settled. There's no massive boom spikes anymore. There's nothing that will blow the game up to like 200,000 monthly players anymore. Maybe when 1999 comes out, the game will see a massive spike, or before Soulframe comes out, the game will see a massive spike. Maybe it'll hit the passive peaks it hit before, but the game is kind of settled. And you know what? That's great. Because the ones who do join the game have DLCs like Second Dream, The Sacrifice, The War Within, The New War, and Deviri Paradox. Just to name a few things in the game to do. Of course, you need to get to 100 hours just to even reach most of those quests, but that's another story for another day. And I'm just honestly tired of the people saying Warframe fell off. It's kind of annoying. So, with that being said, I will leave you with this. Thank you for watching, and as always, have a nice day. Goodbye.